Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly video. In this weekly video I'm going to focus on the crude oil. We got some position in the crude oil. Crude oil is on the bottom, is very close to price zero. I'm going to speak about the fundamental, what's happened over the weekend, what is expected to be at the open next week. Going to show you the chart, also talk about the euro Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar got of course connection to the crude oil. I'm going to talk about this as well, so let's get started. So as I said, I will start with what's happened in the weekend. So basically, if you remember from the last videos, was some problem between Saudi Arabia to Russia. Russia didn't want to cut. Saudi Arabia, I say you don't want, okay. They make oil price to go very low. They say they will produce much more. Was a lot of problem. Then basically was the big gap on the crude oil. It fall down, stay on low price. These oil countries start to be in real stress. They need to inject money to the market to support them economy. You know, it came also with the coronavirus. Mr. Donald Trump also basically decide to fight the crude oil price because a lot of USA countries going to bankrupt if crude oil will stay in that level. If you want to hear about all of that in deep, just watch the last videos from previous weeks. So now what's happened, basically Saudi Arabia and Russia make peace. There is no more price war between them, and not also that they also agree, them and with all the other OPEC countries, to reduce or to cut the oil production, so price will go up. And basically what they say now is going to have a major impact on the market. Now you must understand, this was the largest ever cut in the history. Okay, so this is very strong support to the crude oil price, and basically it's need to go up, and I believe next week the party will start. Now, if you read the news, I want to add that, when they negotiate about how much to cut, how much each country need to cut, so was a problem with Mexico. Okay, Mexico didn't want to cut as much as they asked. They asked for 400,000. They willing to do only 100,000, and then they add a little bit more. But Trump, as I said, now support the crude oil price. So he say he will help Mexico meet global oil cut target. So he will cut the additional oil per day. So Mexico basically will be okay, and the cut will go to the next level, and the deal will out, and this will happen. So basically this is very good that Mr. Trump for the first time support OPEC. He say he hates them, but it doesn't matter to us because he helped them now, and he want to help the United States companies. So this is very good for us. So now we know the war between the price war, between Saudi Arabia and Russia, and they get to output cut agreement. We know Canada joined, United States joined. The problem with Mexico was fixed by the United States. So now I want to show you, I want to go to the chart. Before that, I just want to remind you what's happened when basically countries support an instrument. So if you remember, we got another war between the Fed and coronavirus, and you see that when country or the Federal Reserve in this matter fight an instrument or want to support an instrument, what's happened. So I'm going to show you the Nasdaq. Nasdaq touched the 800 moving average. We got the big Fed support and see what's happened to the price. And now with the crude oil, all these countries support the crude oil, so I expect it basically to fly up very, very soon. So let's now go to the chart. So this is the Nasdaq 100 daily chart. So if you remember, I talk about on the videos here, in the weekly videos, about the Fed supporting the market, putting trillions of dollar, and it's going to be an uptrend, trend going to be changed. So as you can see, today we are on the 200 moving average here, and market can now more likely to go to a new high. Yes, it can still go down, retest the 800 moving average, but look what's happened when a big country or big institute like the Federal Reserve support an instrument. And I say that because now what the crude oil cut is basically a support also of trillions of dollars when they do that. So I expect now, like what was happened here with the Nasdaq, will happen with the crude oil. And the big difference is, if you want to buy here Nasdaq, when it was here on the 800 moving average, price was 7,000. To buy 7,000 and put stop loss on zero, when you use leverage, for example, it's not likely to do. It's not something that you really can do. You can do it, but it's super, super complex, super, super expensive. It's nothing like the crude oil, and also the percentage that you can make, the return of percentage that you can make from this trade is very, very small. If we compare it to the crude oil. So let's go to the crude oil now. So this is the crude oil daily chart. This is the gap. I want to start to talk on the gap. So the gap here basically was when the price war between Russia and Saudi Arabia started. Then we got this gap, and now we got the approval of the deal. They're going to cut, so I expect this gap to be closed even next week. It can happen, if no, additional 2 or 3 weeks maximum, but it looks like it's going to have, as I show you on the news, a high impact on the crude oil price, and I expect the minimum that it will go to close the gap here. I'm not talking about even it's need to go to try to get to the resistance around here to R1 or even R2, but I just first of all target this gap, and this gap need to be closed very, very quick. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the monthly chart on the crude oil to show you what is expected and what is the worst case scenario. Let's start. So first of all, we got this was the major resistance trend line. Okay, so you can see 1, 2, it touch here and fall, touch here and fall. So this is the resistance line. Okay, let's do it wide and let's put it on red. So this is the resistance line. Now the support line is going from this low to this low, which is exactly where we are now. So 1, 2, and here now you can see price stop to fall. Let's do it on green, like it will show us support. So resistance, support. Now let's talk about the worst case scenario. Now you can see you can buy here and put the stop loss on zero price, because as I speak about it all the videos, last videos, so we can put stop loss on zero, we cannot lose. Oil will never be selling for free, for zero. You can already see what's happening on the fundamental when price is here. But let's talk about the worst case scenario. Okay, I always need to show the worst case scenario, so I will connect these lows. Okay, basically they are coming on price 10. Okay, so you can see market get here and fly up, get here and fly up, and not letting it to fall below price 10. So I will do it on blue. So or will just jump up with all this great news, it will jump up and get to this resistance, or it will fall, get to this support and then fly up. So this is the worst case, that price will break this green line, get to the blue line last support, because it cannot fall to zero. It will be there a huge buy. It will be very quick support, very spike up, something crazy. I don't believe it will happen, but I'm just show you the worst case. So the worst case, it will fall from the green line to the blue line and then jump up, or it will just jump up. Now the target for all of this buy position, I believe, will be anyway taking profit on the red line, resistance line, which the price here is 59. Okay, so we're going to close profit on 40, but actually the real resistance need to come on price 59. Okay, quick review on the Euro Canadian dollar. So this is the head and shoulders number 1, head and shoulders number 2. We got here this red engulfing candle, another red engulfing candle. Basically, Canada is one of the biggest oil production in the world. So they also agree to the cut. And when oil will go up, Canadian dollar need to go down. So Euro Canadian need to go down. Anyway, we got this head and shoulders position. We got some position from the top. And profit going to be closed around here, so it's only a short time until this small down movement came and a position will out in profit. Just show you this as well. Okay, so that's it for the weekly video. I hope you enjoy it. So as for this moment, everything looks great with the news, with the fundamental. They agree on the cut. United States is in, Canada is in, Mexico problem solved. So it looks very good. Now let's say will be any bad news. I don't know. All the countries will say no, we are not going to cut. Mexico will not cut. United States will not support. Whatever happened, okay? The worst case is that market will fall to price 10 and it will be a huge opportunity to buy. It's actually like a free money to buy it from price 10. I'm not believe this is going to happen. You see the pressure, you see how much money and how much big cut, the most in the history, they are willing to do. So I expect the party will start next week. Now another interesting thing is that they do all this very good news when market close. Again, all this United States support, the big cut, agreement approved, whatever, this happen on the weekend when market is closed. It's very good because usually when such a big movement going to come, they don't want a lot of people can make big money on that. So basically it can open in a huge gap up or just to open and quick spike up. Let's see, the open going to be very interesting, and I wait for it, of course. So anyway, have a very good week. I hope everybody is healthy. Stay at home. Keep yourself safe from the virus that's still out there. Today I didn't speak about the virus too much or at all because now I focus on the crude oil. Basically, all this cut going to balance the demand that's basically reduced because of the coronavirus. But again, as you can see, when Fed pump the market jump up, and now going to pump the crude oil, not the Fed, but all the oil countries with support of the United States. Okay, have a very good week, and let's wait to the open.